and please feel free to start.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to DUX Program Days. I'm Amy Kokenauer from Orbis Cascade Alliance, and I use she, her pronouns. I'd like to thank our caption providers from AI Media for supporting this event. To access the captions, locate captions from the menu bar. There are options to show or hide captions, or you can select the caret to choose the full transcript view or adjust your settings. We're supporting communication options in 4 ways throughout DUX Program Days. Our presenters will invite spoken questions and comments. Please use the raise hand feature to help us see you. That option is located from React in the menu bar. And you're welcome to use the chat throughout. If you'd like to share an anonymous question or comment, please use the Q&A feature. And we've created a collaborative note-taking Google document for anyone to add thoughts, questions, comments, resources, any other feedback throughout DUX Program Days. We're posting a link to the Google document in the chat. You may need to scroll down or use the headings to navigate down to Unit 3 because we started adding content yesterday. If you have any technical support needs, please send a private Zoom chat message to Elizabeth Duell. Thank you so much. And now we'll get started and I'll pass it on to Roman.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Roman Block. I use he, him pronouns. I'm an Access Services Coordinator at OHSU Library here in Portland. Thank you for attending my session called Taking Action, Creating Actionable Recruitment and Hiring Practices at OHSU Library. So today I'll be discussing a project I was a part of last year in which myself and my colleagues conducted extensive research and used that to create a set of actionable hiring and recruitment practices for our library. Sorry, oops. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to go over some background really quickly. So briefly, OHSU Library is a health sciences library. We serve over 2,800 students as well as faculty and staff. Currently, we have 25 staff and faculty members in the library. But when this project began last year, we had about 4 open positions and a few positions in the pipeline that were going to be newly created. And this work that we conducted was done by the members of the diversity committee within the library. There were 4 of us, including myself, and we were commissioned by our leadership team to do this work and given like roughly a 6-month timeline from the beginning of January 2023 to the end of June 2023. So the purpose of this project that we were a part of was to create recruitment and interview practices within the library that deliberately, authentically, and strategically encourage applicants from diverse backgrounds, facilitate a welcoming experience throughout the interview process, and then address potential biases in the feedback and evaluation stages of the interview process. And these were the main objectives that we created and identified when we were approaching this work. We wanted to identify and review current research recommendations, innovations, and just best practices within the field of librarianship and outside of the field. We wanted to then compare those to what we were currently doing in the library and what we had done in the past. And then we wanted to take all that information and create a set of prioritized recommendations for recruitment and hiring going forward for the library. This was just like a rough timeline of how we conducted this project. We started at the end of 2022. We had just experienced a lot of organizational change and thought this would be an opportune time to reassess and improve how we do things. We began by consulting our hiring managers and discussing what they hoped to get out of this project, what initiatives and actions had been previously taken, and how successful those had been. And then we conducted an extensive literature review, and I'll explore that more in depth in just a second. And then after that was done, we compiled, shared, and discussed our research and synthesized it into a document which outlined our recommendations and presented that to our hiring managers for their use in the future. So broadly, the literature review that we did, we wanted to take a holistic approach with our research and encompass as much valuable info as possible. So with the four of us, we split it up with reviewing academic literature and other scholarly sources, gray literature, so like a lot of the really valuable resources available online, like blogs and guides and things like that, that had a lot of really useful tools and ideas. Some of my colleagues have been extensively trained in the process of being a search advocate and done a lot of DEI training as well. And so they reviewed their training materials that they had, notes, and other tools that they were aware of and had available to them. And then we also took a look at the institutional resources that were made available to us at OHSU because as an organization, OHSU has been really committed to promoting diversity and equity and has created a lot of really useful tools. And so we took all that information and we just really wanted to approach this project with providing recommendations that felt actionable and could be easily implemented within our organization and the parameters that come with being part of a larger university system, because inevitably there are restrictions within that. And oh, sorry, the formatting on this got garbled a little bit, but after we did that research and we synthesized it, we organized it into categories that were based on the chronological timeline of a recruitment search. So we started with like forming a committee, what the drafting a position description and the qualifications for a position, creating screening criteria for applicants, the recruitment process itself, how to get more applicants, how to increase that yield, and then the interview process itself, and then how we communicate with candidates and applicants. And each of these sections has a number of detailed recommendations related to the respective part of the recruitment and hiring process. And so I'm gonna show you guys some examples that I pulled from our document. We had many more, but for example, in the position description and qualifications section, we made note to avoid or limit like numeric measures of experience and qualification, as that can be limiting, and oftentimes people will select themselves out of an application process if they don't feel like they meet the qualifications of a position. And also things that are really practical and easy to implement, like avoiding using language pertaining to protected classes, or like inherently language like assertive or dominant, like that are inherently masculine or like related to protective classes like digital native, and again could lead to people self-selecting out. And in the screening section, we really wanted to emphasize that if a candidate meets the minimum qualifications, that we should focus on including them in the pool that then gets carried on to the interview stage, rather than screening them out as often happens. And really just reducing the qualifications to what the core of the job is, and not creating so many that people are intimidated and then don't apply. And then we implemented a lot of a lot of recommendations related to the interview process itself. A lot of that's done online now, so we'll like create one meeting room for everyone to attend. And for initial rounds of interviews, we'll ask candidates to have their cameras turned off to avoid any implicit bias. And that project finished in June 2023, and we ended up with a really robust set of recommendations, and some of those have been really successful in subsequent recruitment and hiring endeavors that we've done as a library. What I've highlighted here are some of the points that I think we've done really successfully and have continued to do. So we implemented a screening template that's allowed us to improve how we evaluate applicants at the screening stage and evaluate candidates at the interview stage. This uniformity allows us just to better assess applicants and candidates based on their qualifications of the position. And I personally think it helps us keep biases in check and focus on whether a candidate is a good fit for a job rather than just fitting the organization or the culture of our library. My next slide is an example of the screening template that we've used in some of our interviews. This is actually something that OHSU created and has made available to us, but as you can see, what I find really helpful in the searches that I've worked on is it really sections it out by what are the core needs of the position and what are like preferred qualifications. And yeah, I think that's been really useful for us. And then we've also just made strides in making the experience of interviewing and applying for our jobs more accessible. We've allowed ourselves to widen candidate pools by being more intentional about highlighting essential duties of the positions and not adding too many extra requirements. We've shifted to like a mostly online interview model. So only final interviews are generally held in person. This has allowed for a wider range of applicants, including people from out of state. And we send interview questions in advance so candidates can respond thoughtfully and thoroughly at the time of the interview. Like I mentioned before, we ask them to keep their cameras off to add a layer of anonymity and address bias. And we've significantly reduced the amount of extra things that we do in terms of a recruitment, like especially with faculty positions. Those could be spread out over multiple days, and we've really tried to be conscious of being timely and making it not too much of a burden for people when they visit us. And the last kind of point I would say is just we've really tried to be timely in how we respond to applicants and interviewees. We let people know if they've been screened out as soon as we can. We try to let people know if they haven't been picked as soon as we can as well. So it's definitely been something that has evolved over time. And we even have been beginning to try new things, like we've been holding open houses for open positions so people can get more information about the position, because you can only glean so much from a job application itself. Yeah, so and then I'll just kind of end with some recommendations for this process if anyone considers looking at their hiring and recruitment practices the way we did. I think I would recommend reviewing what your current hiring and recruitment practices are and just evaluating how accessible those seem and how looking for what could be improved there. Most of us are a part of big universities, and so they often have really great resources available that you might not be aware of. I certainly wasn't aware of a lot of the stuff that we had access to. So I think checking out your institutional resources and seeing what could be implemented or what you think would work. I think really focusing on simple changes that you have control over as members of the library, like sharing questions in advance or doing pre-recorded presentations for faculty positions or conducting more of the interview process virtually, or really like creating rubrics like the one that I showed you guys. All of those things individually are small, but can contribute to a bigger, better process that is more equitable and will generally increase the amount of people who are considered for a position. And then the last thing I'll say is just don't be afraid to try new things. I think we learn something new with every recruitment search that we've done, and we've been flexible with these recommendations because not everything that we recommend can be implemented for every single search. So I think attempting new things in an effort of making the search more equitable and trying to increase the amount of people that are applying will pay off in the long run, because you'll always learn something even if it doesn't work out. So and then the last thing, I want to just have a couple acknowledgments for my other team members, because I didn't do this all alone. I'm just synthesizing it. My colleagues, Amy Addison, Summer Steele, and Steve Duckworth were invaluable, and they are great to work with. And then, yeah, so thank you for attending, and I'd be happy to answer any questions now.
We do have a question. The idea of having the candidates turn off their camera is intriguing. How have candidates reacted to that request?
That's a great question. So far in my experience, they seem to be fine with it. I will say that it can be an issue sometimes. I think being clear that they need to have it turned off when they join, or setting up, we use WebEx, so setting up a rule so that only the committee members' cameras are on is beneficial, because we have had instances where people will like join and have their camera on and then turn it off, but then, you know, it kind of defeats the purpose at that point. But personally, having served on a couple searches myself, I think it's been really helpful, because because I feel like I'm really assessing people based on what their qualifications are and how they're responding to the questions we're asking them, and not so much based on potentially their appearance. Yeah.
If you have any questions, please feel free. You can either put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask it. There's a question in the chat. How active was the HR department in these changes and the assessment, or was it held just in-house within the library?
Yeah, that's a great question. We did it all in-house at the library. We worked within the confines of HR, like OHSU has a very like robust HR system. And so there were certain things like we can't really change, we have to abide by how they list jobs and things like that. So we definitely work within the confines of that, but we did have a lot of control in terms of like how we're then conducting these once all that begins. Oh, and it looks like there's another question. What do your open houses entail? Yeah, we've done a couple of these. We just did one for an access services position a couple of months ago, and basically we kind of a Zoom or a Zoom or a WebEx session, and we'll advertise it, and then people interested in the job can join, and they can just ask questions of the hiring committee or the staff members that are attending about the position. And we found it really helpful in that specific case because it allows for so much people to ask for more clarity on certain things, like and yeah, sorry, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, so it's basically like a Q&A type of forum. That's how we've done it so far. I think as we go forward, we might try to like maybe have a more regimented outline. We do like go over a lot of like the big questions, like OHSU is up on a hill and it's pretty inaccessible. So it's a great opportunity for us to let people know, like, you will have to take public transit if you're gonna work up here, like there's not parking and stuff like that. So we tried to address a lot of like frequently asked questions as well.
We have time for one more question.
Okay.
Did you get resistance to changing the hiring process? And if so, how did you deal with that?
No, I would say we didn't get resistance to changing the hiring process. And I think a lot of that is just because we were in a big period of change, and we had a lot of people leave, including our director at that time. And so I think people were more open to reevaluating things. And just as a whole, I have a lot of really great colleagues, and they're really invested in DEI initiatives and just making the library a welcoming place. And so I think they really really supported and encouraged us to keep on with it.
Thank you
Thank
very
you
much,
so
Roman.
much.
Yeah, thanks everyone for attending.
Thank you again so much. We can see the thank yous coming in on the chat, and some applause happening in our Zoom profiles. I wanted to go ahead and pass it along now to our next session, which is with the DEI Standing Group, DEI Activities, Programs, and Events. Nailed it.